welcome to the World Telecommunication Conference, WTDC-25, being held here in Baku in Azerbaijan. I've got the great pleasure of being joined in the studio by His Excellency Mr. Ole Toft, who's the Ambassador of the Kingdom of Denmark to the Republic of Azerbaijan. And Mr. Toft, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Denmark belongs to one of the most digitalized economies in Europe. I wanted to ask you, what are the lessons learned from the process that you might share with the global community?
Thank you very much. Well, I think first it's important to understand that for Denmark this has been a long process. You could say that started in the 1960s, 70s and has been a continuous development. But if I should mention three things, then it would be firstly that it is important that the digital transition takes place both in the private and in the public sector. And the transition has to go, the changes has to go hand in hand. Secondly, that the digital transition of the public sector is not just a technical thing. It is something that demands a comprehensive reform and transformation of the whole way that the public sector is working. So it's a pretty complicated thing, but it's extremely important. And third, to do this, you of course need to build up and invest in the necessary infrastructure, which even for a small and densely populated country like Denmark is a challenge. And of course for larger countries, developing countries, this is a huge task, and that's also why we need institutions like the ITU. One of the reasons.
Fantastic. Now Denmark is presiding the ITU. Denmark is presiding the EU Council. I want to know, can we talk a bit about the priorities, what has been achieved and what challenges you believe still remain to be addressed?
Yes. In the digital area, the priorities of the Danish EU presidency are firstly strengthening the digital competitiveness of Europe, and secondly, strengthening the protection of children and young people online. Topic of strengthening the competitiveness of the EU is a horizontal ambition of the presidency, as it is for the Commission. It is clear that the EU is growing relatively slower than other major regions of the world, and we have to catch up. And in that process, the digital competitiveness is key in a modern world. With regard to the issue of the protection of young people and children online, we have been surprised to see that this is really a major issue in all member states, and there has been broad support by other member states for our work there. And we, at the informal Digital Ministers' Council, adopted a declaration on this issue. So I think that was a very timely priority.
And in terms of the engagement with ITU, why is that important? You mentioned obviously our importance before a little bit, but what are your expectations also from this WTDC in that respect?
Yeah. Denmark was one of the 20 founding members of the ITU back in 1865.
Exactly.
And it was a very relevant institution at that time for us, and I'm happy to say it is still a very relevant institution for us. And two things are, I think, of great importance for us. Firstly, the ITU is a framework where we take important decisions on spectrum and satellite orbit resources amongst the nations. Key importance to the modern world. And secondly, the ITU and the ITU-D is an important tool in helping us all to bridge the digital divide in this world. And in that context, I also hope that this meeting here in Baku will be an important step in that process, and we will support it fully.
Well,
thank you very much.
Very glad to hear. Well, thank you very much indeed for joining us here in the studio. I know you've got a busy schedule, and so I very much appreciate your time here. And hopefully we will catch up with you again at another ITU event.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you've enjoyed this interview, which I'm sure you will have, then do check out our other interviews on our YouTube channel, as well as our podcasts on the podcast channels that you follow. And for further information, please visit our website at www.itu.int/WTDC-25. Thanks for tuning in.